Hey everyone, welcome back to KDX Bricks Analytics. I am Kevin, and this is where we talk everything Lego investing and reselling. And on the left, I have our year-to-date cumulative table. And in this video, I am going to give you all of the data, enthusiasm score, and mentions for all of the sets that have been discussed on all the other YouTube videos that I watch that are expected to retire at the end of this year. It is a really long list, so we're diving right into it. In 2024, I've watched 339 YouTube videos about Lego investing and reselling across 19 channels and tons of Lego set mentions, as you can see. Check out my previous video for an explanation as to how I collect the data and how I tabulate and analyze and what all of this data means. On the right side of the screen, I already have the first set up. As usual, it is the Princess Leia Boushh helmet, this Target exclusive. Still a 2.7 enthusiasm score, now 52 mentions. And the second number is the increase in mentions over the last 2 months of data that I collected. So 8 more mentions in July and August. I still do like this set, but I'm worried about it having too much buzz that everybody is going to be investing in it. And when everybody's in, I think that really limits the potential for it to be an unexpected home run. But I still think it'll be an evergreen investment for myself. If and when it goes to $42 or $48 like last year's Target exclusive Dark Trooper helmet, then I do want to pick 20 to 25 of these up. I have this graph to show you, and I only put this graph together for 10 sets, but I think this is interesting. The blue line is monthly mentions, and then the orange line is cumulative monthly mentions. So there's the 52 that we talked about. So kind of interesting, very popular throughout the bulk of the year, but the last couple of months it's dropped down to only 5 and 3 mentions. I don't know if that means everybody's just so used to hearing about it that we're all locked in on getting it, or maybe some people are starting to steer a different direction because there's been so much buzz. If it's the latter, then I kind of like that. It'd be good if this went back to not having quite so much buzz. And then next set has held the second spot on the table for a while with 44 mentions, 11 in the last couple of months, an E-score at 2.5, down a 10th in the last couple of months, is the Clone Commander Cody helmet. I generally agree with these, but I do think this one also has just a little too much buzz, especially because it is not a Target exclusive, so a lot more readily available. I also have a chart on this set, and I wanted to point out very similar mentions as Princess Leia, but then in the last couple of months, especially 2 months ago, it jumped up a good amount, and that's because this set was on sale for $39.50 at Target for that weekend there, and so I picked up 19 at that point. My hope is both of these helmets go to about $100 after holding for a year and a half, so picking them up at $40 to $48 still seems pretty good. Third set on the table is a great one. It is the Mos Eisley Cantina, coming in at a huge $400, only 3187 pieces, but 21 minifigures, 9 of them are exclusive, a 4.5 on brick set. This, in my opinion, is one of the best sets Lego has ever designed, produced. It is fantastic. 38 mentions, third on the table, and a $400 set. That's amazing. 6 more mentions in the last couple of months, and a 2.4 enthusiasm score with a 10th increase in the last couple of months. And here's the graph, solid mentions throughout the year, and then kind of interesting the last few months, dropped down to 4, 2, and 4. That might be because it's gone out of stock in a couple of areas. It's been on back order at lego.com occasionally recently, or maybe the buzz is dying off a little bit, and that could be a small sign of opportunity. And I just realized I made a mistake when I produced these graphs. Notice that it says 40 cumulative mentions, and it was only 38 on the table. And I just realized that when I built these graphs, I did not filter out the little bit of data that I collected through this first part of September. So these graphs are even more up to date than the table that goes through August 31st. I'm not going to cover the sets on the table that are not expected to retire at the end of this year. That's why they are not highlighted. But of course, feel free to check out that data. Early next year, we'll be going over all of these big time. So next one to talk about is 76908, the Speed Champions Lamborghini Countach. 30 mentions and 14 of them in the last couple of months. A crazy high 2.8 enthusiasm score out of 3.0, increased a 10th in the last couple of months. I agree, but I'm worried that the E-score is way too high. And so for that reason, I am waiting if it goes on sale for $10 to $12. Otherwise, I won't be picking up too many. I'll still get some, but if it goes to 10 or 12, then I'll pick up 30 or 40 of them if I can. The graph on this one shows the massive increase in mentions and buzz over the last few months, and that definitely concerns me. But I think this is due to the larger Icons Lamborghini Countach, same color white that looks very similar coming out. And once there is a larger daddy set, then the kids sets historically do pretty well. Next up is this Lord of the Rings Frodo and Gollum Brickheads. Brickheads, 28 mentions, 11 in the last couple of months, a solid 2.4 enthusiasm score. Lego is in parentheses here because that means it is a Lego store exclusive. I like all 4 of the retiring Lord of the Rings Brickheads. I stop by the Lego store on the way home from work every now and then, and I'm trying to pick up 30 or 40 of each. We have this great looking Boba Fett mech, 28 mentions, 9 in the last couple of months, so enthusiasm and buzz for this set is picking up recently, an E-score of 2.3. I think those metrics are pretty accurate. And then Boba Fett Starship Microfighter, 28 mentions, 7 in the last couple of months, and down to an E-score of 2. That also makes sense. Microfighters historically have done well, but Lego must have produced a ton of this set because it's been on sale for $7 a lot, and many people that I'm watching on YouTube are saying they're not picking up any more unless it goes to $5 and sometimes even $4, and some people think that could happen. I already have 30 of these at the $7 price point. In hindsight, I'm not too excited about that, so I'm being careful unless it does drop to, 60% off. Tusken Raider Brickheads, 27 mentions, 2.6 enthusiasm score. I concur with that data. And Gandalf the Grey and Balrog, the second of the Lord of the Ring Brickheads, 26 mentions and a 2.8 enthusiasm score. Awesome set, and I agree with those numbers too. The Ideas A-Frame Cabin, 24 mentions, 11 of those 24 in the last couple of months, so the buzz is picking up on this set, and a very solid 2.5 enthusiasm score. I think these metrics are spot on, but I think a lot of people that I've watched would feel like these metrics are a little too high. Some people love this set, and then there's some that are really concerned about it because of how long that the Treehouse has been out and how much zombie stock last year's blacksmith shop has had. Next up is this El Dorado Fortress. It's an icon set, $215 for 2,500 pieces, a 4.4 on brick set. That's really good. 24 mentions, down a tick to an E-score of 2.3. Many people have noticed very low sales velocity on Amazon, like 50 or 100 a month sometimes, and that has concerned people that maybe there isn't a lot of demand. I don't know what's going on there, but a set that looks this great, is iconic, classic, is a reference to a set from, I'm forgetting the 90s, correct me if I'm wrong. I really think there's a lot of potential with this one. More Brickheads, Aragorn and Arwen, 23 mentions, E-score of 2.6, and then Miles Tails Prower from Sonic, 23 mentions and an E-score of 2.5. I agree with both of those. I still like all of these licensed Brickheads. And then here's a really good set to talk about. Indiana Jones Temple of the Golden Idol from the original movie. Great diorama, tons of great action features, awesome colors, awesome little builds in here. So much good stuff. 23 mentions, 6 in the last month, up a 10th to an enthusiasm score at 2.3. And the graph is really interesting on this one. It's like the investing community can't figure out exactly what they think. So one month it's 1 mentions, next month it's 5, and then 1, and then 4, and then 1, and then 5, and 2, and 4. I think with Target making their new standard price around $113, somewhere in there, I think we have a chance for it to go 20% off from that. And at that price, sub $100, I'm picking up a few of them. I think this one has a lot of potential, especially with just over the 1.5-year shelf life. Sonic the Hedgehog Brickheads, 22 mentions, 2.5 enthusiasm score. Sounds good to me. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Darth Vader Brickheads 2-pack, 22 mentions, E-score at 2.2. I agree with that, and my E-score would even be a little lower. For some reason, this set just doesn't grab me that much. I don't know what it is, but my gut says it's not going to be great. Yeah, I've picked up some, mostly the last set to get over the threshold to get a GWP recently, but I'm not going hog wild on this one. This Clone Trooper Battle Pack, Ahsoka's 332nd, 22 mentions, only 4 in the last couple of months, an E-score of 2.2. I think that is about right. I do want to pick some up, but not at the standard 20% off. I'm waiting for 30 or even 40% off. And even though most Clone Trooper Battle Packs have done really well, I'm a little bit concerned about oversupply on the secondary market. Stormtrooper Mech, what an awesome set to go with the Boba Fett Mech and the Darth Vader Mech. 22 mentions, 7 in the last couple of months, 2.2 enthusiasm score. I like this graph a lot, and I bet it's very similar for Boba Fett and Darth Vader. When these first came out, the entire Star Wars Lego community was not too pleased because they are not canonical. So there were no mentions other than some negative mentions. But after a little while, they grew on us. And I think it settled in that, hey, everything doesn't have to be Star Wars canonical. This was a great idea. They're super cool. These $10 to $15 mechs are a staple of Lego these days. They've got them in a bunch of themes. We all licked our wounds for the first few months and then came around, and now we're pretty excited about them. And typically the first wave of a new Star Wars sub-theme ends up doing pretty well after a 1.5 years or so hold time. I am excited about these mechs, and I like how this graph represents that. A couple of speed champions, the 1970 Ferrari, 21 mentions, 2.3 enthusiasm score. score. And then the Lotus Avia, 21 mentions, but 9 in the last couple of months and a 2.2 enthusiasm score. Both of those seem reasonable to me. At the right discount, Speed Champions still seem to be a decent investment, but the buzz has certainly died out. I think it's just because the investing community is so used to grabbing these when they go on good discount and having them be just pretty steady resell items. The last of the Sonic Brickheads, this Shadow and Knuckles 2-pack, 20 mentions, 7 in the last couple of months, and a very solid 2.6 enthusiasm score. This is one of my favorite Brickheads for the year. This great Icons NASA Space Shuttle Discovery, 19 mentions, E-score of 2.3. I think that E-score should be a couple of ticks higher. I know it'll be a longer hold time, but NASA sets are staples, and this design is beautiful. The new Phantom Menace Brickheads, this 6-pack, 18 mentions, E-score of 2.7. If it does retire at the end of this year, which I expect it will because last year's Battle of Endor Heroes did, then a very short 8-month shelf life. I don't fully agree with the 2.7 enthusiasm score. I think I'd be closer to 2.2 because so far last year's Battle of Endor Heroes Brickheads has not really grown on the secondary market. Yes, there was a couple of months of zombie stock, but last year's similar set does give me some concerns. And then here's the Darth Vader mech, 18 mentions, E-score of 1.8. Everybody knew this would be the third place of the 3 mechs that are retiring at the end of this year. The John Deere Tractor, this small $35 set, 17 mentions, E-score of 2.3. I agree with those metrics. Haven't picked any up yet, but I will. And this is starting to go out of stock at some retailers. 76224, Batmobile, Batman versus the Joker Chase, 17 mentions, E-score 1.8. Spot on because of the $48 price point is way too high. It's a good investment, but the discount has to be massive. Oh, and don't forget, my videos are for entertainment purposes only. I do not provide financial advice. You got to get that from somebody else. Here's the graph on this set. There was some excitement when it came out. The box art looks good, and it is a fantastic build. But then the price and the fact that we've had a ton of Batmobiles really settled in. And then recently, when we've started to see some sales on this set, that's given people hope that there will be even greater sales, and it would be worth the investment. Similarly, the Batwing set, 17 mentions, E-score of 1.8. I do want to point out that Walmart has this 3-in-1 pack with the 2 sets we just talked about, and then a very small poly bag with that Batman figure there on the left for $50, and the normal retail is $90 approximately for all 3 of these sets. If Walmart puts this on sale for $35 or $40 right at the end of the year, now we're talking about a discount that makes sense for these sets, in my opinion. Ninjago City Gardens, another one of the best sets that's ever been produced by Lego, $350 for 5685 pieces, a 4.6 on brick set, absolutely phenomenal. 16 mentions, a great 2.7 enthusiasm score. The mentions would be higher, but it's just a higher price point item, and so obviously there are less investors. Harry Potter Prisoner of Azkaban Brickheads figures, 16 mentions, an E-score of 2.4, down 0.2 over the last couple of months. That's a pretty decent jump in a 2-month period. I'm not excited about these. I'll pick up a few if they go on the 40% discount, like all of the Brickheads multi-packs did at the end of last year. And then here's an interesting one, the Ghostbusters Ecto 1, very expensive at $240, 16 mentions, E-score of 1.7. I think both of those are way too high. I know it's a great build. I know it's a 4.4 on brick set, but to get a decent return on investment, this would have to sell for over $400, and I personally just don't see it. Here's the chart. Other than some early buzz, it really flattened out, and then recently some decent buzz, and if I recall, I think this is about the movie that came out in the middle of this year. I'd have to be at a 50% discount to pick any of these up. It's really one that I'm not excited about. Oh, and I meant to say in my most previous video, I deep dive analyze many of these sets, so I highly recommend checking that out, but in this video, obviously, I gotta move super quick. So on to the next set. It is this fantastic Lord of the Rings Brickheads that came out in June of 24, and Brickset is even saying it's retiring at the end of this year, so I think that is pretty solid. 15 mentions, 6 in the last couple of months, a 2.9 enthusiasm score, and as you can see before the last couple of months of data, it was a top 3.0 enthusiasm score. Love it, want some more of it, getting as many as I can. Sanctum Sanctorum, 15 mentions, 7 of them in the last couple of months, a 2.3 enthusiasm score. It's ticked up a couple of tenths. Totally agree. This is a sleeper. I think it's going to do really well. It's a 4.5 on brick set. No modular buildings are expected to retire at the end of this year. This is the closest we're getting. Those typically do well. This is a phenomenal set. Creator 3-in-1 Medieval Castle, 15 mentions, 2.1 enthusiasm score. Only 1 new mention in the last couple of months. months. I like this one discounted at 30% or more. E-Wing and Shinhati Starfighter, 15 mentions, only a 1.9 enthusiasm score. I think that's a touch low. Both ships are decent and all 5 minifigures are exclusive. The gray Playscale Millennium Falcon that's been out since 2019, 15 mentions, E-score of 1.3. I think both of those are high, but some people are making the point that there is always demand for a Millennium Falcon, but with the new version being the Dark Falcon that is not canonical, until Lego comes out with the next canonical Millennium Falcon, people will want to get this one, and so it could have a little pop. I don't want to take the risk. Now to one of my personal favorite sets, 21336, The Office. It is a Walmart exclusive, 14 mentions, 6 in the last couple of months, a very solid 2.4 and a 3/10 jump over the last couple of months. I don't have any of these yet, but I hope to pick them up. I haven't seen them on sale. Oh wait, I do have one in my office. It's still unopened in the box, just up on my shelf. Kind of a fun conversation piece at work. Here's the graph on this one, and we can see in the first half of the chart, basically no mentions, and then in the second half, jump to 4, 3, 1, and 5. You all already know why this is the case, and that's because this set was not on the retirement list, and then one of the updates, when a bunch of those Star Wars sets fell off of the retirement list, The Office was added, and once it was added, we all internalized that with the October 2022 release date, it's just over a 2-year shelf life. Not bad for one of the most popular TV shows in history. So these metrics make total sense to me because it's a Walmart exclusive and because it started out the year not on the retirement list. I do think it's a little bit of a sleeper, should be undersupplied on the secondary market, and once it goes on even a 20% discount, I'll be picking some up. Ideas Tales of the Space Age, 14 mentions, 2.1. That seems reasonable. I generally like this set. The Speed Champions Mercedes 2-pack, 14 mentions, E-score of 2.1 also. Long shelf life, but $35 for 2 cars when the new price for a single car is $27. Any discount on this I think is a steal, and it's flying under the radar a little bit. This is actually one of the better Speed Champions that's retiring at the end of this year, in my opinion. And then another one with 14 mentions and a 2.1 enthusiasm score is the second of 3 Indiana Jones sets that are out and also retired at the end of this year, Fighter Plane Chase. I'm also a fan of this set. Mandalorian Fang Fighter versus TIE Interceptor, 14 mentions, but a low 1.5 enthusiasm score, but I still think both of those metrics are way too high. Only one of the minifigures is unique. The only thing of interest is the TIE Interceptor build, but we've got the new, very reasonably priced UCS TIE Interceptor. I think that one takes the cake over this one. The Ferrari 812 Competizone, 13 mentions, 2.6 enthusiasm score, over half the mentions in the last couple of months. It's a good set. I like it. The N64 question mark block, 13 mentions, E-score 2.5. I know it already retired at the end of July, but there still might be 1 or 2 out there in the wild. I think these scores are way too high. It's not a set I'm excited about. And then here's the final Indiana Jones set, 13 mentions, E-score of 2.3. On discount, it's a solid set. Emperor's Throne Room Diorama, 13 mentions, a low 1.8 enthusiasm score, even though the build and minifigures are fantastic. The first wave of retired dioramas have not done well, so these metrics make sense. Atari 2600, awesome build. I wish the metrics are much higher, but it makes sense. The console is just so old. There can't be many people that would demand this set in the future, so only 13 mentions and an E-score of 1.2. Even Wally, 12 mentions, E-score of 2.7. Generally, the community believes this set is not retiring at the end of this year, but it is still on the Brick Fanatics list, so I'm still keeping the R in parentheses. So who really knows, but when it does retire, I think it'll be a great one. The Mandalorian Spider Tank, 12 mentions, E-score of 1.6. Both of those metrics are way too high for me. The Bo-Katan minifigure is great. Everything else has no significant value in my opinion. And then here's one that's really interesting. This Avatar Tree of Souls, 12 mentions, 7 of them in the last 2 months, an E-score of 1.3, but it dropped 3/10 in the last 2 months. Even though there has been no demand around the Avatar sets in general, this one is just beautiful. So I agree there is real potential here. For me, it has to be on a great discount. This is the last of the graphs that I want to show you. It has been flying under the radar, if it's going to do anything on the secondary market, all year long. Only recently is it getting a lot of attention. I'm okay with that. I think the buzz is too little too late if it is one that can be found on good discount and ultimately grows in value. I am watching closely for this one. The NES, 11 mentions, E-score of 2, not my favorite. Endor Speeder Chase Diorama, same story, 11 mentions, E-score of 2. This awesome Corvette with an amazing design, 11 mentions, E-score of 1.7. For some reason, these brick built icons vehicles have not grown in value on the secondary market. I don't get it. I think they're amazing. I still think this enthusiasm score is a little too low, but obviously they are a very long hold time time these days, which is going to drive down the E-score. Miles Morales versus Morbius. This vehicle and pretty good minifigures. 11 mentions, E-score of 1.5. That's where I'd be. I'm not enthusiastic about it. Target exclusive exotic pink parrot, 311.44. It's the recolor of the blue exotic parrot. 9 mentions, E-score of 2.4. E-score seems reasonable. Way too low mentions in my opinion, which I love. This one is a sleeper because it's a Target exclusive. I will be getting a bunch of them. The $850 UCS AT-AT, 9 mentions, E-score of 2.4. Too expensive for me to invest in. Wolverine's adamantium claws, only 9 mentions, 3 in the last couple of months, but a 3/10 jump on the enthusiasm score to a 2.1. This one continues to grow on me. It's a Target exclusive. It is really clean and slick, but it finally dawned on me that what I'm missing is just a little bit of yellow detail. Obviously, stickers would not be adequate for that. It would need to be some brick-built yellow trim and detail. Maybe even if it was just around the cuff of the glove would be good enough, but a small amount of very clean, well-placed yellow would have been awesome. I'm still watching it closely, and if the data's good and the price is right at the end of the year, I do want to pick some up. Harry Potter and Cho Chang Brickheads, 9 mentions, E-score of 2. I know I said I liked the licensed Brickheads, but I'm not in favor of these Harry Potter Brickheads. We've had a bunch of Harry Potter characters done in Brickheads form in the past. They all seem to run together. I think the demand is drying up. Now this Brickheads I do like. There are very few Disney villains in Brickheads form. Cruella and Maleficent are awesome. The builds are great. I think this one is a sleeper at only 9 mentions and an E-score of 2. Holiday Main Street, 9 mentions, E-score of 1.9. Both of those are way too high for me. This set is a pass. The Ideas Treehouse, also 9 mentions, enthusiasm score of 1.9. One of my favorite sets that I've built. It is beautiful. It experienced a $50 price increase a few Augusts ago, and it still is a great value at that price. 4.5 on Brickset, but it's been out so long I worry about it being oversupplied. But some sets become so stale that people forget that they're still out, and it's possible that by now there isn't much supply in investors' hands, and maybe there is a chance. The Ideas Typewriter, 9 mentions, E-score of 1.7. Way too low for me. I've never seen it go on sale. It's a 4.5 on Brickset. Those are good signs. It's a big winner in my book. Shacklebolt and Tonks Brickheads, 9 mentions, E-score of 1.7. Same story on this Harry Potter Brickheads. 21331 Sonic the Hedgehog Green Hill Zone, 9 mentions, E-score of 1.6. Both of those are way too high in my opinion. I've never liked this set. Icons Fairground Collection Loop Coaster, 9 mentions, E-score of 1.3. Yeah, that enthusiasm score is already low, but I still think it's too high. The other large coaster is losing money after shipping and fees. The Ideas Globe, 8 mentions, E-score of 2. I think this one could be a sleeper, a little bit of a high risk, high reward, but there's a lot of good with this set. Weasley's Wizard Wheezes, 8 mentions, E-score of 2. Notice almost half the mentions are in the last couple of months and a jump of 4/10 in the last couple of months. It's a Target exclusive. There's a few channels out there really going for this set. It's the first of a new Harry Potter sub-theme that can all connect together, I think. I see these pins over here, so the other one that is out, I think it's Ollivanders and something else, and then a third in this sub-theme series has been announced, so I'm assuming they all connect together, and so maybe there is something there, but it's only a 3.7 on Brickset. The Ideas Fender Stratocaster, 8 mentions, enthusiasm score of 1.9. Both of those are too low for me. I like this set a lot. Target exclusive Villains Icons, an 8 and a 1.5. A rare Target exclusive that I'm not a fan of. And same thing with this Star-Lord's helmet, also 8 mentions and a 1.5. Monkey Kid City of Lanterns, 7 mentions, E-score of 2.3. Definitely flying under the radar in my opinion. I'm not going to get a ton of them because it's hard to find too many buyers for Monkey Kid sets, but this one I really think is going to go up in value, and that's why I am picking some up for myself. Malfoy and Diggory Brickhead, 7 mentions and a 1.7. Moana and Merida, same metrics. And Yavin 4 Rebel Base with the same metrics. None of those three inspire me. This Target exclusive Disney Duos, 7 mentions, E-score of 1.6. I am passing on it, but with the less than 2-year shelf life and kind of a Brickheads feel, even though I wish they were just done in Brickheads right from the beginning, after a very long hold time, there's probably something here. Mini Disney Palace of Agrabah, 7 mentions and a very low 1.4 enthusiasm score. This Icon Chevy Camaro, 7 mentions, E-score 1.3. And honestly, I'd already thought this set had retired. Can't believe, again, how little buzz there is around these. What an awesome looking build. Jurassic Park T-Rex Visitor Center, it's an awful build. The design is terrible. Very little buzz, also 7 and 1.3. Yoda's Jedi Starfighter, 7 and 1.1. I agree. Chewbacca, 7 and 1.1. Continues to grow on me. I want to point out a 4.1 on brick set. That's not terrible for brick set. I think this is better than most people gave it credit. At $100, I'd grab a few. I don't know much about architecture, 6 mentions and an E-score of 2 for the Taj Mahal. Dreams Nightmare Shark Ship, I love it. 6 mentions, E-score of 2. A little bit of a sleeper in my book. The R2-D2 tank at $240. It's awful. These metrics are way too high. Pirate Snub Fighter, another one that's pretty rough. The 6 and 1.5 is way too high. And then this UCS Luke's Land Speeder, 6 mentions and 1.2, and I think the 1.2 enthusiasm score is too low. This is the first UCS Land Speeder. I know it deserves a lot of hate, but a UCS ship at $500 is not unreasonable. I think there's some runway here, especially because the supply will be so low on the secondary market. The N1 Starfighter, $16 MSRP. I wouldn't invest in it at $5. The E-score should be a 0.2 in my opinion. Expectro Patronum, awful set because of this flat blue color, and then the stand is so busy and rough. Hogsmeade's Village, 6 mentions, E-score of 1.2. Batmobile Tumbler, 6 mentions, E-score of 1. That's really rough, way too long of a shelf life. Jazz Quartet, 5 mentions, E-score of 2.2. Shh, don't tell anybody, but I think this is the sleeper of all sleepers. It is such a classy set, so well designed. Every piece, every element looks fantastic. The Walmart exclusive Birdhouse, another one where the metrics are way too low. 5 mentions, E-score of 2. The Art Amazing Spider-Man, 5 mentions, E-score of 2. It's a pass for me. This little carousel ride, 5 mentions, E-score of 2, came out in March. So a 10-month shelf life. Many people do like to build a small amusement park section in their cities. This one fits right in. I think there's some meat on the bones for this one. The John Deere Skidder, I love this set. It's in my top 10 power rankings videos. 5 mentions, E-score of 2. Auspicious Dragon, 5 mentions, E-score of 2. Great design. I don't think there's much growth. Dried Flowers centerpiece from Botanicals line, flying way under the radar. Only a 1.8 enthusiasm score. Very short shelf life for Botanicals. It has a real shot. Speed Champions 2-pack, 5 mentions, E-score of 1.8. BTS Dynamite, 5 and 1.4. The Batcave Shadow Box, 5 and 1.4. This is such an interesting set. I think it could really surprise a lot of people, but so risky at $400. Year and a half shelf life and a 4.4 on brick set. I am going to watch it. You never know. There might be a huge discount for a minute. Joy, Sadness, and Anxiety. Nice new Brickheads. The rumor is it is not retiring at the end of this year. Australia Postcard, 4 and a 2.3. Beijing Postcard, 4 and a 2. Zane's Ice Dragon Creature, 4 and a 2. I actually like this one okay. Some of the Ninjago dragons have done pretty well. The Seasonal Family Reunion Celebration, super cool set. I think there's some potential with a 4.4 rating and only $130 for 1,800 pieces and 13 minifigures. Destiny's Bounty Race Against Time, 4 and 1.8. Way too high for me. Absolute pass in my book. This Porsche 963, a rare, not so good Speed Champions car. I'm looking at you, McLaren Elva from last year, 4 and 1.8. Peter Pan's Flight Over London, it's a Walmart exclusive and it still has only a 4 and a 1.5. Creator 3-in-1 Main Street, $140. Definitely a pass other than the 4 that I picked up at $54. White Rabbit, 3 mentions, E-score of 2. I like the enthusiasm score. I think it should have a few more mentions. This one might surprise some people. Ninjago's Heatwave Lava Dragon, 3 mentions, E-score of 2. It's a pass because this is not really a dragon in my opinion. Or at least it doesn't look like a great dragon. Speed Champions Pagani Utopia, also 3 mentions and an E-score of 2. And I think this one is flying under the radar a little bit. I know it's gray, but the design and build is fantastic. Creator 3-in-1 Deep Sea Creatures, 3 and a 1.7. The Camper Van, also 3 and a 1.7. No way. The Deep Sea Creatures has so much more potential than the Camper Van. This E-score should be like a 0.5. Shrieking Shack and Whomping Willow, 3 and 1.7. It's a pass for me. Battle of Hogwarts, also 3 and 1.7. Not the worst, but kind of bland. And same metrics with this Room of Requirement, also kind of bland. The Technic Monster Jam Monster Mutt, only an enthusiasm score of 1. Previous Technic Monster Jam trucks have done okay, so I think there could be something here. Spider-Man figure with an E-score of 1. Venomized Groot with the same E-score, and then the Hogwarts Astronomy Tower. I agree on all of those. This one in particular has been out since 2020. Most people don't even realize it's still available on the shelves. The Lego brand store that is a Lego exclusive, only 2 mentions, but an E-score of 2.5. Something really interesting about this set. On the USA version of Lego.com, if you put in the set number, it does not come up. It gives you the closest, which is 40747, which is daffodils. So if you just hit enter on that, it actually brings you to that set. It is not available online in the US market right now. When I Googled Lego.com, lego.com, and this set number, it popped up, but it defaulted to the Singapore lego.com website for me. Maybe nobody knows about it and there will be no supply on the secondary market. I don't know if I want to take that risk. The build doesn't look that great. The Hulk mech, 2 mentions, E-score of 2.5. Same metrics for the Hogwarts Express Collector's Edition, $500. That's nuts. Architect Singapore, 2 and 2. The Minecraft Sword Outpost, also 2 and 2. Way too low metrics in my opinion. This pixelated sword has got to be like the most iconic thing from Minecraft. The Minecraft movie is coming out. This is a sleeper in my opinion. Moana's Wayfinding Boat, and also I Am Groot. Neither of those inspire me. This Art Fauna Collection, Macaw Parrots, awesome build, awesome colors, high risk, high reward, but there could be some potential with it. Only 2 mentions and an E-score of 1.5. Rapunzel's Tower and the Snuggly Duckling, also 2 and 1.5. And it looks like the next bunch are 2 and 1.5, including the City Train Station, Baby Rocket's ship, Batman construction figure, Captain America's shield. Oof, it's a terrible set in my opinion. The 4+ Batmobile, fun for kids, not for investing. Hogwarts Chamber of Secrets, been out a long time. Triwizard Tournament, the Black Lake, less than a 2-year shelf life of 4.1, and it's a different kind of build and color scheme for Harry Potter. Could be flying under the radar. Monkey King Ultra Mech, also at the 2 and 1.5 metrics. And now here's a bunch of sets with 2 mentions and only an E-score of 1. Creator 3 and 1 Supersonic Jet, Tennu Jedi Temple, the UCS Hulkbuster. Wait a minute, I thought this set is only supposed to get mentions against investing. I think it's top of the list on that table, but somehow or another, a couple of kind of positive mentions happened, I guess. The Avengers Quinjet, Dumbledore's Office, the Forbidden Forest Magical Creatures that when you look at it, the colors give me a headache, and the Velociraptor Escape. And now we're to all the sets that only have 1 mention, and of course the first bunch have an E-score of 3, and then a bunch with an E-score of 2, and then the last set is with an E-score of 1. The Technic Ford Mustang Shelby, the Monster Jam Dragon, same thing. This is such a unique build and fun type of set for kids to play with. I think there's some potential here. Whirling Rapunzel. Yeah, a lot of $10 sets can be grabbed for $7 and triple up to $25 or $30 on Amazon. Maybe this one will too. Lloyd's Ninja Street Bike, 2 minifigures for $10. Not bad at all. Monkey Kids Team Hideout, beautiful set. I love it. And now the list that only has an enthusiasm score of 2. Minecraft Swamp Adventure, Gingerbread Ornaments. Both of those are passes. I do like the Dream Village because it's the only Lego exclusive Dream set. Friends Holiday Ski Slope, the Technic Porsche 911 RSR, killer set, but it's been out since 2019. The blue Bugatti that looks funky, but I still love it. Cinderella and Prince Charming's Castle, the Little Mermaid Royal Clamshell, the Space Science Lab, and it's a Target exclusive. If I remember correctly, this one is no longer on the retirement list, so that's an error that it's in this video, but it's a cool little build for $35. Diddy Kong's Mine Cart Ride, Elemental Dragon vs Empress Mech from Ninjago, Rocket Mech Armor, one of my least sets out there right now, Captain America construction figure, this motorcycle Spider-Man vs Doc Ock, another $10 set with 2 minifigures. I kind of like it, all right. Quidditch Trunk is a pass. Brachiosaurus Discovery is a pass, other than the 15 that I picked up at $40, which is 50% off. I'm excited about that, but you never know with a set this unpopular. The Tales Workshop set, Dragon of the East Palace. All Monkey Kid sets are Lego exclusive. Only 1 mention with an enthusiasm score of 2. This is one of my favorite sleepers of the year. $190 seems like a lot, but it's over 2,300 pieces, 9 minifigures, 8 of them are exclusive. And when we zoom in and look at the build, just wow, amazing, so good. There's tons of detail on the backside, you know, the interior detail. I love it. Don't tell anybody. I hope to be the only person investing in this set. No, I'm kidding. I love talking about this one. It's high in my recent power rankings video too. And now kind of on the opposite end of the Monkey Kid spectrum, this Maze Dragon Mech is one that I am definitely passing on. And watch my luck, this will be the one that does great, and Dragon of the East Palace will be an absolute dud. That's why I diversify when I pick up all of these sets, because you never know for sure. The Minecraft Fox Lodge. Oh, and here's the last chunk, and they all have 1 mention with an E-score of 1. I actually think this one could do okay. These foxes are adorable, and the build is adorable. And again, that Minecraft movie coming out should help it. Fantasy Forest Creatures. Comparable sets like this from the past have actually done pretty well, so at the right price, I'd grab a bunch of these. Lego Nutcracker is an absolute pass. Birthday Cake is a pass. The Pinata is is a pass. The Friends Botanical Garden is not a pass. 80 bucks seems like a lot, but it's over 1,000 pieces. It's a 4.7 on Brickset. There is so much opportunity here. I'm waiting for a discount. Massive sleeper in my opinion. The Batman Bat Cycle that doesn't look like a Bat Cycle at all, except maybe one or two of these pieces, so it's a complete pass for me. Enchanted Treehouse. I love that Lego tries different color schemes, but for my eyes, it doesn't work. It's a no for me. King Magnifico's Castle from Asha. Yeah, no, from Wish. I keep getting confused about Asha's Cottage. You all know the inside joke on that one. With me and DG. City Explorer Diving Boat. The 4x4 Off-Road Adventures. Awesome set. Not good for investing. However, this Target exclusive sailboat, I'm a believer in this one. Similar historical sets have done all right. Pegasus Flying Horse. Super cool color scheme. Not a lot of buzz around most of the Dream sets. Mr. Oz's Space Car. Pass for me. The Sandman's Tower from Dreams. Pretty cool looking set actually. 90 bucks for 723 pieces is crazy expensive though. Ghost Rider Mech and Bike is a pass. Same with Ant-Man construction figure. Amy's Animal Rescue Island. Sonic's Green Hill Zone Loop Challenge. I don't invest in the action play sets. Monkey Kids Megaopolis City. If it retires the end of this year, it's a 1-year shelf life. That's a big if in my book. Another awesome set. I'm definitely grabbing a couple if it looks like it's going to fall off the shelves. And now the 4 other retiring Avatar sets, they are all passes for me. This Flying Creatures set, another Flying Creatures set, and another Flying Creatures set, and then this Shark Whale type set. And then I'll quickly scroll through all of the sets that are not expected to retire at the end of this year with 1 mention and an E-score of 1. That way you guys can see the extent of the table, and there is the bottom. So that's the long list. What did I learn here today? There's still a lot of sets that I am watching closely and that I am looking forward to sourcing a bunch of. Obviously, not all of them. Some of them I'll miss. Some of them will disappear from the shelves before the end of December. They'll slip away without me realizing. I'll miss out on those. Some of them won't go on the discount that I'm looking for, and maybe I'll miss out on those. FOMO is a real thing because it really hurts when you've been watching a set, you've done the research, and then you don't pick any of them up, and then it skyrockets. That's just reality. I diversify as much as I can with these sets without going too wide. You want to balance that wide enough that you're diversified, but tall enough that you don't have to list onesie twosie sets all the time. That's a pain. It's much easier to make a listing and have 10 or 15 of that set to just keep adding to. So those are all of my thoughts. Thanks a lot for watching. The next video will be the July and August not top sets update. That is always a fun video to do. That's a wrap on this one, and I will see you in the next one.